Good afternoon. By hearing your clap, I think some of us are still awake. Are we awake? Can we just put our hands and just stretch a bit because we've been sitting for a while? Thank you. So I'll be providing a brief, I have to see how that works, a brief overview on the aspect of teacher as a role model using the acronym TEACHER, T-E-A-C-H-E-R. Now, this was a module that's initiated by this morning's keynote speaker, Sadhguru. He gave this module back in 2015, and that became a part of my life, and it's actually done a lot for me, so I'm sharing that with you today. And he says that all the qualities of a teacher are embedded in the letters T-E-A-C-H-E-R. And if you just understand this word, you will know what to do in your field. So part of this work was a group of us, after listening to his talk, we got inspired. We made a module of 9 books, and each letter represented was on a book, plus the introduction book and the self-analysis book. So I'll talk about that in a moment. And it has been adopted by almost 27 schools, and also the University of Human Excellence that was founded by Sadhguru. So all the teachers and the staff actually work on this because it's a module that's to work on ourselves. Because if when we are teaching, what's the main aspect is us as a role model. And that's been explained a lot by this morning's talks as well. And, I was thinking why, I don't know, did you find Gavin's talk exciting? Was it inspiring? And I was thinking, that's part of this module because Gavin has made whatever he taught, he practiced it, and that was what got through to us. So basically, the goal of all the institutions that have got this module is that education should lead to blossoming of human excellence. Now, I know that this morning it was said that the children spend a lot of time with parents, but in reality, if we look at this academic culture, children spend a lot of time in the school. So when they start nursery, right up to going to university, 7 a.m., many children get up, they go to school 8, and then after school they have their extracurricular activities, they have tuition. So there's hardly any time where they spend with parents. So who is the role model for them? It is the teacher. So all of us here who are educators, guess what? You are the VIP. You know why you are the VIP? Because you are molding the next generation of leaders. A child in your class could be a future minister, a future prime minister, future doctor, future nurse, future parent, future husband, future wife. So that is a big responsibility on us because we are molding them. And the child, once they start going to school, the teacher becomes their parent, almost. Then as they grow older into teens, the mentor. And then university, they're doing PhD, the teacher is the mentor again. It's a huge part that we play in their lives. So I'll move on to the module. So the first letter, T, stands for transformation. Now, we know that a lot of our lives we involve teaching is giving information. So transformation, now research shows that 10% of what we say goes to the child. So what's the rest of it? 90% is the meta message. It is like, how are we saying? What are we saying? The children are watching us every single moment. Someone walks through the door of your classroom. How are we talking to them? How are we conducting ourselves outside? So there's both the T and the E will relate. The whole concept relates, but I'll explain each in a moment. Now, if we were born in the 80s, you'll remember a song, Man in the Mirror. Do you remember that song? One of the lines is, if you want to make a change, take a look at ourselves. And this is a quote by Mahatma Gandhi, exactly says that, we but mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man, woman changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change towards him or her. This is the divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. So the transformation comes within ourselves. Now, children are very clever, very smart. If you are telling them something and you are not practicing, they know. Which is why the transformation within us is very, very important. And it starts with ourselves. Now, how do we do the transformation? So, in order to transform ourselves, we need to observe ourselves. That is also, we have to take that time. Observe ourselves, we identify our strengths and challenges, and transform all our challenges into positive ones. This is, it'll be a reflective practice that we do. So it's a cycle, because every day we are learning, we are developing. So self-observation, we have to look at ourselves. Self-reflection, self-analysis, and self-transformation happens. It happens every day. Some days we might lapse. So if we have a plan, there is an example which Benjamin Franklin used to do. He had 13 virtues, and he had a chart. So every day, at the end of the day, he would sit and he'll put a dot and see what virtues he practiced. And then if there were too many dots, then his goal was the next day, I hope to have less dots. So it's a practice that we have to do if we want to go through that part of self-transformation. It is ongoing. Now, some days you might think, okay, the process I've chosen has not worked, so maybe change the process. So have a pause, change the process. If we are to become a better person of ourselves, as well as we are doing that for the benefit of the child. And this takes me to the next letter. So T, transformation. E takes us to us. So when transformation happens, we become an exemplar. An exemplary teacher alone can create exemplary students. So if we are to tell a child what to do, we first have to be. Then we can tell. There's a very nice story of a teacher in India, Paramahansa Ramakrishna. So one day, a mother took a child to him, and she said, he's eating too many sweets. Can you please tell him to eat less sweets? Then Paramahansa looked at the child and the mother, and he said, come back after some time, after 1 week. So after 1 week, the mother took the child back to him, and Paramahansa said to the child, boy, I think you are eating too many sweets. It's not healthy for you. You must stop. Then the mother was very surprised. She said, why didn't you tell this to the child when I brought him last week? Then the teacher said, because I wasn't practicing it myself, how can I tell the child? Why will the child listen to you? So it's a lesson in us that if we don't practice, we shouldn't be teaching the child because they know. And why should they practice? So this is a big one, being a role model. And current times, there's really a lack of role models. It is declining. We know that values is declining. And children, we have a big competition. There's online media. Children are on the phone. What is it? TikTok. What's other ones? I don't even know. Snapchat. I don't use that much. Facebook. So there's so much. Children are looking up to other people. So we have a lot of competition. So we have to work on ourselves a lot. I have a 14-year-old, and before, when he was in a different school, these children have little mentors, and they follow their mentors. If you watch children closely, so there's a guy on YouTube called Hamza. I don't know if you know Hamza. Anyway, Hamza is a young man, and he seems to be motivating a lot of boys, how to be fit, how not to watch these. And I've been following because my son was watching, and I'm like, I better follow what this guy is saying, otherwise I don't know what he's telling these kids. So, and I'm saying, okay, so what did he say today? Oh, he said, oh, we should be exercising and eating healthy food. I said, okay then, okay, that's fine. So we have to really watch, and we are competing with, you know, elements in society which may not be healthy for the child. So the next step, which is why role model, being an example, is so important, because when we are a role model in the classroom, it touches the heart of the child. It brings about transformation within the child as well. Okay, I will go to the next letter. So T-E, A is for awareness. Okay, so what is awareness? The awareness relates to, this is about good example, what Carl Jung had said. Good example still remains the best pedagogic method. The methodological teaching of the curriculum is at most only half the meaning of the school. The other half is the real psychological education made possible through the personality of the teacher. So this education means guiding the child into the larger world. So again, our responsibility of future leaders. Okay, so A in the acronym teacher is for awareness of oneness. Now, awareness is being conscious of everything around us, that everything is part of the whole. An excellent example was COVID. Now, it affected every part of the world. It made everyone, I guess it made us aware how we are all connected. There's no one's isolated. So this is an awareness of being everyone that's connected, as well as a journey of self-awareness, which requires us to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings, our emotions. So, with awareness comes the opportunity to engage in self-regulation. Without being aware of ourselves, we may not be able to regulate ourselves. So, sometimes it's challenging at first. This aspect that I'm presenting is something I've been working on, as I said, on myself. So with that awareness, some days you might, with the awareness, you might uncover some tendencies in you that, you think, okay, it's not very good. They don't appear to be positive. But we just don't make that judgment. We just remember to accept, and we forgive ourselves, and we continue. So every day, if we are working on ourselves, we can become better and better and better and lead to that role model bit. Okay? So next letter, this works, is the culture of the country. That is important, and it says you should design your work, the teaching material, methods, whatever it might be, in the context of the country where we are teaching. There is a great research by Geneva Gay in the US and Latson Billings, which is part of my research that I'm doing, and they specifically talk about cultural awareness, because in a lot of like our country, like Australia, even the US, we have children from many different backgrounds. Now, are you aware of the children in your class? Like, what is their background? Maybe why aren't they understanding this material that I'm presenting? Maybe they've never been exposed to this material. So how am I going to relate to where they're coming from? So that's what the C in the culture refers to. It's the cultural awareness. Jennifer Gay actually talks about the cultural relevance in teaching. And we find that in the Australian context, a lot of indigenous students, they don't want to go to school because we are not relating to their culture. The culture is not for them to sit in the classroom and read English, maths. They like that interactive culture that Gavin was talking about. It's all interactive. They want to be part of nature, part of the environment. So it's very important to understand where they're coming from if we are to get to the heart of the child. Okay? And so the H in the TEACH relates to head, hand, and heart. Is that working together? Is that in harmony? So the head relates to our intellect. The hands, the ability to do, and the heart is the compassion. When we speak, is the unity in the head, heart, and hands? Is that in unity? If it's like walking the talk. Are we walking the talk? Are we speaking what we are thinking? Again, the child is very intelligent. It can make out whether you are walking the talk or not. So this is a huge aspect of the teacher acronym. And then the next one is the environment. Again, Gavin spoke a lot about the environment, and I'd like to just elaborate on it a little bit. The right kind of environment is important. As we know, is your classroom bright? Is it welcoming? Is the child happy to come into the classroom, or he doesn't want to come in today? So how have you set up your classroom? You know, there's a whole science on color. Okay, even the dress. What are you wearing? What color are you wearing to your classroom? That has an impact on the child. For example, red. We know red. If someone's angry, we always show a red color. So if you wear red in the classroom, you might find the children might be a bit agitated, not so calm. If you wear blue or green, it's very calming. So there's a whole science of it. So the environment makes a huge impact on your class. How is your class behaving? What is the nature of the child? Is the mind calm? Is it inspired in the classroom? That has a huge impact. And you can look at that in your research. This is just a small introduction of what the whole acronym means. Okay, and the last part, the R in teacher, is the role of religion. So an understanding that the undercurrent of all religion is brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. So all teach good. I know that all our schools are secular. We are not supposed to talk about religion, but it's just being an awareness, having an awareness in your class. There's children coming from different religions. So are they fighting, or do they understand? Do they think my religion is more important than another one? No, because that is the understanding you have to create in the classroom. All religions are good. All religions teach brotherhood. So that is something just to be aware of. I know it's not taught. Even in Australia, they have said we cannot teach religion in the classroom, but the brotherhood can be discussed, that they teach good things, okay? So the last module through that teacher acronym is on self-analysis. So each module has its own questionnaire, and we ask oneself, we reflect, and we change. So with this, I know it's very brief, so in a few weeks, we'll be releasing a book which will contain all the 7 modules in brief, and you can have a look at it. It will be available online, and the organizers will email you the link. So that has it has tables like this for each letter. For example, if you want to focus on transformation module, then you look at the table, and I'll just go back because it's in really small writing. So the essential question is, if I can go back. So number 1, are you aware of your inner experience through feelings in yourself and your students, and work to transform them, if needed, into positive experience through mindfulness strategies and self-reflective practice? So that is the question on the top. And then there's questions. So I practice mindfulness exercises daily to attune to my inner self. I seek to understand through self-inquiry. So these are questions you can ask yourself at the end of the day. These are questions available in the self-analysis. So for each module, we have the charts. See, the second one is about E, and there's a whole table where we ask ourselves, are you modeling exemplary behavior at home and at school, providing opportunities for your students to become exemplars for each other, the school, and the community? So it's, again, working on ourselves. Because, you know, I know that we become teachers with a passion. We have become to teach. But, you know, most teachers, we come into the profession with love and passion, but then somewhere along the line, we have all these external pressures. We have to do administration, we have to do assessment, we have tests, but, you know, they always exist. At the end of the day, it's about you and what are you doing with your students. You know, you can inspire them. All these processes will be there. There's always there. So we can inspire them by changing ourselves. Let's see what, just like the last slide. So this is the whole module in a brief. As you can see, the introduction, Again, I'll just summarize. Transformation, exemplar, A for awareness, C for culture, H for unity of head, heart, and hands, classroom environment, unity of religion, and self-analysis. Encompasses the whole teacher module that I wanted to speak to you about. And Confucius says, the more man meditates upon good thoughts, the better will be his world and the world at large. So at the end of the day, you know, when you go home after teaching, put your device away. This is self. Put it away for a little while and just spend a minute. Sit silently and just think about your day. That's reflection. You can spend a minute even, and then a minute can increase every day to 2 minutes. Just reflect. Did I do the right thing today? Did I speak kindly to someone today? Did I make a child's life beautiful today? So it's a process that is ongoing, and you know, the question to ask is, have I made a difference in the life of a child today? Because that's, I feel, our role as a teacher. Okay? Thank you.